I'm just starting it up. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh.
Are you sure? That has to be the intro. Right?
Oh my god.
Three, 2, 1. And like we said in the last video, welcome to, I guess we're rolling now, you know.
Yeah.
Welcome to a new episode of Mofos with the Long podcast.
You already fucking know.
And what movie are we doing today, Armando?
Dragged across concrete.
Starring Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn. I guess first off, with this movie, I kept thinking about this one joke Willie P told me about like dragons. You know, dragging my balls across your face or some shit like that. Yeah. So every time I saw the title of this movie, I just kept thinking about that one joke. But I chose this movie. And the reason for that is because I heard about this movie back in like 2019. And it seemed interesting. So from the commercials, it just kind of seemed like a gritty ass like 70s cop movie. Yeah. So I always like movies like those, like the what's it called, the Dirty Harrys and stuff like that. So I've always been curious.
You like them real dirty.
What's that?
You like them real dirty.
Oh my god! Here we go, man.
We're about to get canceled this season.
Yeah. But yeah, with Dirty Harry, I really like those horrible cop type of shit, and yeah, so that grabbed my curiosity, and I finally saw on HBO Max, and I was like, okay, I think this would be a good movie to kind of watch at the time because we weren't even doing reviews. And then after I saw it, I was like, okay, I would like to definitely review this movie. Have you heard about this movie prior?
No, actually, the first time I heard about this movie was when you brought it up.
Oh,
I had
really?
Never heard of this
Oh,
at
okay.
all.
I'd like to hear your take then.
Because right off the bat, I'll say one thing about it is like I don't see Vince Vaughn in too many serious roles.
Oh,
you know
really?
What I mean? Or at least, you know, I haven't been exposed to the ones that he's done. He does well, from what I saw, was like a lot of those like 2000s comedies that he was kind of in, and the vibe of those, I guess, was different from what we got going on now.
Oh yeah,
I think a lot of those, if we go back and watch them, they probably didn't age well with a lot of the jokes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
yeah, like your take on Vince Vaughn. There was a time I used to hate that guy because of those like 2000s comedy movies.
Oh yeah,
because he had like the same like shtick and delivery. He used to be a guy that talks really fast and he talks like that. You know, I just hated that almost, and he did that with almost every fucking movie he did at the time. But I don't know what happened, but like ever since like the 2010s, it's almost like he's branched away and started doing more serious roles. But they never really get like widely released. It seemed like And I think the first time I saw him really play like a true serious role was True Detective season 2.
I never watched it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
People consider that season kind of bad. I liked it, but I have to see it again. But at the time watching it, I liked it, and he kind of played like a mob guy in that season.
Oh, okay.
Then again, he did some dark roles before. He did like the remake of Psycho.
He did.
Yeah.
Not that it was great.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't good. But going in without knowing anything, did you have any expectations from
No. To be real about it, like I didn't even know Mel Gibson was doing movies anymore.
Yeah.
I thought he got blacklisted to the point that like you just weren't gonna see him anymore. But yeah, so I was surprised. It was like, oh, this came out in like 2018?
Yeah, 2018 or 2019, around that time.
Somewhere around there. Yeah. And so it's like, not that that's like super recent. That's like 4 years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago. But you know, that's recent enough. I thought, you know, for all the anti-Semitic remarks and stuff like that, that he, you know, he.
Oh, bro, there's more than that, man.
Oh, yeah.
He also attacked our people, my people.
Yeah?
Yeah, you never heard that tape?
I didn't hear that.
Okay. I don't even know if you should like maybe you could play it around this part, like, but maybe cut. I'll tell you what part to cut off. But he was arguing with his ex-wife, and she released like the tapes of him yelling at her while drunk and I guess angry. And you ever heard something so offensive or so racist? It's like it's no longer racist or offensive anymore. It's just funny. It's just like over the top, cartoony.
Yeah.
So yeah, he called her and he said something like, I'm not going to finish the whole thing, but he said like, I don't care if you get raped by a pack of N-words. I was like,
wow.
Jesus Christ, Mel. I know I shouldn't be laughing, but I'm just like, dude, that's so over the top.
How drunk do you have to be? Like, wow.
I don't even, like, if I was in person, and I heard him say that, like, right next to him, I don't even think I'll get mad. I was like, dude, like, what the fuck did he just say? The fact that he just made it sound like a pack of wild dogs or something like that. Yeah. But I think after that was like the nail in the coffin.
Dang.
Yeah, he hasn't been around. He'll do movies, but you wouldn't see it. Doesn't like really get widely released, or if it did, it doesn't really get like heavily promoted or something.
And I think in this movie, he doesn't really play like the protagonist.
Oh yeah. I guess jumping right into it, in this movie, him and Vince Vaughn, they played like two cops that I guess kind of hard on the perp in the beginning. And did you get the sense that they were like, even though they maybe do some harsh shit, but like they still are good cops, at least in the beginning?
I think, and maybe this is why they picked Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
I think his character is a little racist.
You think so? Yeah.
Vince Vaughn's a little bit too,
but his girlfriend is black though.
Well, they were saying something about. I think Mel Gibson's more, but like he tended to go along with it. It seemed like.
Yeah, just following the lead.
Yeah, especially with the deaf girl thing too.
Oh yeah,
that was messed up.
Yeah,
I was like, dang.
See, I took it as in the beginning, the way you kind of see them portraying the beginning with their job. Yeah, I took it as cops that like they used to be by the books, but they see like that doesn't really maybe give them good results. I think that's something even his character, Mel Gibson character, says.
Well, the chief does when they go in to talk to them about when they find the footage. He says like, you didn't used to be this hard.
Yeah.
You don't need to carry around all the stuff or whatever.
So you kind of see like the time and everything being on beat is. He
didn't say dragged across concrete, but what did he say? He said something similar.
Something about you've been on the concrete or something like that. Too long, or
you dragging through the rough, or something like that.
Something rough and tough like that. You know. Yeah. You could put the footage.
It was like almost the title, but like not quite. Which like that used to be a big pet peeve of mine. Is like,
oh really?
Don't say the name of the movie in the movie. You know
like
what
that?
I mean? I used to not. I'm becoming a little bit more okay with it, like. Because some movies you can tell, like Tyler Perry's "Why Did I Get Married To?" And so like just like a couple's like they're fucking. I can't think of the. They're bickering. They're bickering between and so like one of them's like, "Why did I get married?" The other's like, "Why did I get married too?" I'm like, okay, one, grammatically that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then two, like that was a stretch.
Yeah, it's Tyler Perry. You know, that guy's not filtered at all.
Yeah.
I guess kind of like you. It depends on how it's done. If they stop the whole movie to do it, then I'll be like, you know what, fuck you. Like if the guy was like, that's why you shouldn't get dragged across concrete, then I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna turn this shit off.
Like stares in the camera while he does it too, like
yeah, exactly.
Dragged across concrete, starring Mel Gibson
in the middle of the movie. So did you not like Spider-Man or Batman? Because the Gibson Spider-Man of the whole movie. But
Spider-Man. See, that makes sense though, because it's the character. You know what I'm saying? That's like if I got mad at John Wick. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what? Oh, I guess saying his name.
Saying his name. Yeah.
But so we see from the beginning that they're kind of like rough cops and they get caught on tape, which leads to their suspension. And the scene that you're talking about with the chief, I do find it funny too that they were being accused of being racist. And I did think about Mel Gibson's past. And did you find it funny that out of both of them, Vince Vaughn's the one that says, "I'm not a racist." So I wonder if I wonder during filming if the director's like, Mel, you cannot say this line. Can't say that. Yeah, this would take the audience out immediately.
They're like, you want me to believe these characters, but you got Mel Gibson saying he's not racist.
Yeah. Like the moment Mel Gibson says, his character says, "I'm not racist," this goes from a cop movie to a science fiction movie.
Oh, Lord. Dang.
But yeah, so you, from the first act, you kind of see what kind of leads to the act they commit in the second and third act.
Yeah.
Well, I guess.
Really, it starts off like it throws you in. You meet Henry. You don't know who he is yet.
Yeah, that is true. You
just know he's hooking up with a prostitute. And then you kind of see, because I think if I had to say there is a protagonist of this story, I think it is Henry.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell, at least on the first watch, because it's like, is he a side character? Because they show him for that first little bit in the beginning. We learn that he just got out of jail, and that his mom's hooking too. He's got a little brother that's in a wheelchair.
His dad's gone.
Yeah, his dad's gone. He left them to be in another relationship. And then that he's gonna try to do right by them financially to get them off their feet, so his mom won't have to hook anymore.
And his son could get like a new wheelchair. I mean, not son, his brother could get a new wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing I'll definitely give this movie. It gives you, even to another character we'll discuss later on, it kind of gives you like mini backstories. This kind of leads to one of my negatives, but I guess I'll touch on that later on. But yeah, each thing, it seems like to be set up really, really well. It is kind of slow, but it's set up well and tight because it all kind of comes back at the end in a way, but not in a way that they point at it. It's like, oh, look at this. But when you see it overall, you're like, okay, I see how this comes into play later on. I really like the introduction of Henry and his whole situation. Because like you said, it gives you the reasoning of why he's about to do what he's about to do. And how it kind of intertwines with Mel Gibson's character. I know Tony is Vince Vaughn's, the name of the character that Vince Vaughn's plays. But I forgot the name of the character Mel Gibson plays.
Yeah.
I want to say Frank or some shit, but I don't know. But you kind of see how everything intertwines. And with Henry, there's something that I really like in his scene with his brother when they're playing the video games that comes back later on with the lion. And if you notice that too, after Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, after their characters get suspended, when Mel Gibson's character is kind of like trying to bond with his daughter, they were also watching something about lions. You notice that? Like,
oh, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, but he was like, it's a show about the lions.
It's a show about lions. About Henry's character, and Henry and his brother were playing a video game about also catching lions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
So I thought that was really cool.
You lying?
Oh my god! You're a goof, man. But yeah, so with that, you also kind of see after their suspension, Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn's character, you see why they're about to do what they're about to do. Mm-hmm. Because I do like how the fact they give their characters, like, I guess, humble reasons. Mm-hmm. You know? So, like how you were saying, you don't really know who the protagonist is, but you can kind of feel sorry for every one of them. Mm-hmm. And you kind of see why they did what they did. Yeah. And you can explain, like, you know, the daughter and everything, or...
I'm rewinding.
Okay, yeah.
The dude that they pull out the window, is that the dude that always plays Hector?
Yeah, that's
movie?
Hector, the legend Hector.
And his name's not even Hector, though.
It's not. It's like Vasquez, but I wanted to look up and see if it was Hector Vasquez or something like that. I hope it was. That guy's a legend, man.
He always plays Hector. I'm just like, damn.
Is it like the most popular extra at this point?
He might be. He's in a lot.
Yeah.
As Hector.
Yeah, as Hector, yeah. Like, imagine being typecasted. Not as only like playing the same type of character, but the name too. Like, we'll just throw in here as Hector.
He's all the movies that he does, they're all one universe.
Yeah, I was about to say.
He's the same character, you know?
Yeah, it's the same character. Like, Hector's seen some shit, man. From Training Day all the way to fucking Dragged Across Concrete, dude. Yeah, he also still looks the same for the most part too, man.
He doesn't age that much.
Yeah. I think the most random movie I've seen him in was Bruce Almighty.
Was he in Bruce Almighty?
Yeah. I think he plays one of the people that beats him up after Bruce gets fired.
He really does play the same type of character.
Yeah. Dude, I would like to see, like, spoilers for, I guess, what's it called? No Way Home. Spider-Man. I like to see, like, the multiverse of all the Hectors meeting each other. But you want to add anything on to, like, the beginning and introduction of the characters? I know I was talking about the daughter right before.
Yeah, like you said, they did a really good job of setting it up. In my opinion, I didn't feel like, at least in the beginning, that there was too much exposition. Mm-hmm. They just kind of set it up, and it's like, you know, he wasn't like, I've been in prison for the last, like, however long, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, thanks for fetching me, you know? Yeah. And he's like, you know, I've had a long intermission and stuff like that. That kind of alludes to it. You get what's going on, and it's not spoon-fed to you. I like that.
Yeah.
You learn that, like, this isn't the first time that the two cops have run into trouble for roughing up, you know, suspects. So you get all of that history, and it's not spoon-fed to you. And like you said, you really get to kind of see them in their elements when they go home. I think Vince Vaughn's character, Tony, I think we get it a little less than Mel Gibson's character, and then Henry as well. He's like the only character I remember his name.
Henry?
Yeah. But yeah, so we really get to see it with them. We really get to see their situations, and I think that becomes apparent why towards you know, the later acts of the film. But yeah, I really like that they give us just enough to kind of be like, okay, we can see that these are believable characters. They kind of have a backstory, and that they talk like real people.
Yeah. That's one thing I would say. They definitely talk like real people. And
real racist people.
Oh, well, yeah. And I also like how Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson, their character, interact, because, like you said, the way they interact, you could tell they've been partnering for years. They weren't like, hey, back when you, like how you were saying, like 20 years ago when I met you, you know, they just give each other shit like me and you do, and you can kind of get through their interaction like, oh, these guys have been friends for a while.
I know I just got done saying they talk like real people, but there's that thing, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. Vince Vaughn's character says every time something goes wrong.
Oh, crud? No. Mel Gibson character says crud. I think anchovies.
Anchovies,
yeah.
It's like anchovies.
Yeah. You notice Mel Gibson, his take is he always has percentage too.
Yeah.
Which kind of also plays into how things work out in the end. Yeah. I really like shit like that, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, going to the whole backstory, like how you were saying, it gets the wheels rolling, and I really like that Mel Gibson's character. You see what happens with the daughter, and so it gives a reason because I guess she's been assaulted by people in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. So it gives you like a hard reason of okay why he wants to do this, especially after he gets suspended and when he wants to leave this neighborhood. Uh-huh. Yeah, and from there we see that he starts trying to figure out what's going on in the underworld. A guy, people to screw over so he can kind of make money to kind of escape the situation that he's in. And this is why I was asking you whether you think like they're good cops, because he seems reluctant to do this that way he wants to do, and he also seems reluctant to drag Tony into it too.
Yeah, he because he knows he's gonna do something. He doesn't know the scale of it. Yeah, and he knows basically he's gonna go look for something to bust, and he's basically looking to catch some sort of heist or some sort of merchandise, something that he can quickly flip. The scale of it, I think they're both caught off guard. Yeah. When they finally get into it, I think they were looking for something a little more small time, just to make a quick buck. Yeah. But yeah. He was kind of reluctant. He even tells his wife, he's like, "I'm gonna go do something, but we are never gonna speak about it." And she's like, "Okay," because we learned that his wife, former cop, so she's kind of got that greediness to it, but she also understands the reality of the situation. She wants to help out, but she's
crippled, right?
She has like MS, I think.
Oh, okay. He may be. I forgot what they say specifically, but yeah.
And then he, added on to the fact that he wants to get, like you said, the daughters being
like assaulted.
Yeah. And whether that's because of who her dad is or just because of the neighborhood. Yeah. I don't think it really explains which, either of which is plausible. And so he just kind of doesn't see another way, especially with the suspension. He's like, we can't afford for me to be suspended. Yeah. I gotta go make a quick buck. And then, he thinks it through, and Tony's kind of in the situation. I feel like, other people might read it differently. I feel like Tony's in the situation of being suspended because of his character. So I think that he kind of fills Tony in on it reluctantly, saying like, "Hey, this is how I'll make sure you're good." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see. Like watching out for his buddy, kind of, yeah. But I do like the fact that he gives Tony the choice. Yeah. Like, do you want to do this? And he even sees that Tony was at first like reluctant, and he was trying to tell him like, "No, you don't have to. Like I could do this on my own," and stuff like that. But so Tony makes his choice, and and they start trying to kind of get this bust going. One thing I would say about the first act, and I talked to my brother about it too, because I recommended this movie to him. It is very slow, but yeah, it's very slow because they do the procedural, but that's almost kind of like what I liked about it, because it reminded me of like the 70s and the 60s type cop movies where they kind of take their time. But I could see how somebody could get turned off immediately, because it takes a while. It takes a long time to get going.
Yeah, it took me 2 sittings to finish the movie. And I'll be honest, like, although it was hitting a lot of the points that I wanted, at that point, I was like, man, they're really dragging this movie across country.
But lying, man.
But towards the end, I was like, I see why everything that they showed was necessary for the story. So I still wasn't a fan of how long it was.
Yeah.
But it all made sense.
Yeah, so the pacing is definitely an issue in I'll say first act and a half, kind of. But I do like it because it's very tight, it's very contained, and even though it does kind of get slightly over the top at the ending in a little bit, it still fits in the universe of everything they've built in a way. And you don't see them doing some cartoony cop shit, For the most part. For the most part, you don't see them doing some cartoony cop shit. You just you can kind of get that it's a day in the life of some crooked cops, or some cops doing some crooked shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, the issues that you have is the same I have. It's not enough to like deter the movie for me, but yeah, the first act and a half is very, very slow, and it makes this movie, I think, not very rewatchable.
Yeah. I was even trying to watch it a second time, and I got through like the first act.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm
and
done.
I was just like, yeah. I mean, I've seen it. I'm not gonna sit because it's like, what? It's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
long?
it's 2 hours. Yeah, 2.5 hours.
And that's a long ass.
Yeah, it was a long time, man. They're. I think I was going to talk about this. Each character you see kind of having like a own backstory. There was one character I see why they gave this character, with the bank robbery. I see why they gave her kind of like her backstory, but I was like, already in a long ass movie, and this person doesn't really pay too much of a role in this movie. Did we really need to see her backstory too? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
I guess it's kind of a spoiler review, so we could even talk about
what's her name?
Something Carpenter, right?
Yeah, Jennifer Carpenter.
Yeah, from Dexter.
Yeah. That's where I know her from. Also, White Chicks.
Oh yeah, she was in White Chicks. She's the only person that doesn't age.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What's the secret, man?
Yeah.
I need some of whatever they got going on. But yeah, no. See, and here's the thing with me that like never got cleared up. The way homie was talking, her husband, I was like, is that you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What they had black gloves and they had gray gloves. And for a minute I thought those two were the same character. But they're not. They're actually two different people. I thought the one that speaks all the time, I thought that was her husband.
Yeah, because it's kind of like a beard and who was that person?
Huh?
No, keep going. Sorry.
The way that he spoke, the voices sounded similar, and the fact that he used the recordings at the bank, like he didn't want anyone to know. And just like the tenor of his voice, like the speed of everything, it kind of seemed like it matched.
Oh, I don't think that they're the same person, or that person is even related to the crime that happens. I do think it's just a random story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I do think, because this seems like that type of movie. They try to add weights to everything that happens. Yeah, so I don't know if it's a coincidence, but because I can't imagine that character that we see, even though it's for a short time, like be kind of responsible for his wife's death,
I kind of saw it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I kind of saw it. I was like, if you're like a sociopath and you don't really care, but you found yourself in this situation, you know what I'm saying? Like, I saw it. I was like, I think, because even the way that he was talking to her about just seeing her kid, and then like, okay, you can touch him through the door. You know what I mean? Like that seemed odd.
You think so?
Extremely odd.
The way they set up that mini storyline, I guess, it was that she hasn't been to work for a while because she kind of has like almost seems like depression and anxiety to go back to work.
Yeah, like a
Like postpartum. Postpartum depression. Yeah, and it seemed like he was trying to get her to go back to work because she will look for any excuse to just kind of stay home. And he also mentioned that, you know, I barely make any money as it is. Like, you need to go to work. And there was something else I was going to touch with her, but I'm kind of...
See, but I took that as like, you need to go to work so I can leave him with whatever sitter and I'm going to go pull this job.
I don't know, man. I feel like that's a stretch.
Is it a stretch?
Yeah, I feel like
that's where my mind went. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It depends. Maybe I have to see it again. But from what I took it, I actually felt sorry for him. Of the whole movie, I felt sorry the most for him. Because, at least in my interpretation, imagine you think you're trying to get your wife and your baby moms to work because you think it's for the best for the family. And she doesn't want to go. And you could have stopped it and just let her come in and she would have been fine. But because you forced her to go to work, she gets her head blown off. Now it's on you. And I felt sorry for him because, you know, in my interpretation, I just feel like he's another random dude. So I feel bad for him because I'm like, damn, this guy is going to spend the rest of his life blaming himself. You know, because all you had to do is just tell, you know, like maybe push it back one more day.
Yeah.
You know,
if you interpreted the movie that way, then yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah. I just, like, in the back of my head, I was like, that's Black Gloves right there.
Oh, okay. maybe I have to go see it again. Maybe that's the significance of them showing that mini storyline.
I thought that's how they had the intel on the bank. Because they seem to know a lot about exactly when that shipment was going to come through. And a lot of the inner workings of the bank. So yeah, I was that's where I was going with that. But we'll move on from that because that's speculation on my part.
You did bring up some good points. I did take it as them just doing recon because those seem like with the way like how meticulous those criminals were, they do seem like a type that would like do recon, do everything, you know, kind of set up very well, which they did. They kind of showed like them getting a van and everything.
Ocean's 11 type stuff.
Yeah. without Bernie Mac in them, you know, but, or fucking Brad Pitt always eating a snack. You ever notice that? That's what, his character trait in, the Ocean's movie.
Oh yeah. He's always eating.
Yeah. But, one thing you did bring up too with the whole tape being played and everything, I thought that was interesting because like, did they record that tape thinking about responses in mind, or did that guy have like a camera to see what's happening inside to know how to respond to what the manager says?
I think they had recorded responses.
Then I'll be like, but the response just seemed so perfect to what the manager says, you know? I was just like, that's kind of confusing. Like, how do they know he would say that? You know, how did they know? Yeah, how would they just know about the situation? Because remember, in a tape, the guy was like, you know, I'll take that woman right there as a hostage, or I'll kill that woman. In my mind, it's just like, I guess you could assume there's always going to be a woman there because it's the workplace. But it's just like, what if there wasn't a woman? Then your whole tape makes no fucking sense. You know?
Oh, yeah.
You see what I mean?
That's true.
Yeah, so... I
don't know. And then even with, like, recorded responses, you would have to know exactly where on that tape each response is.
Yeah. So that kind of took me out for a second.
Okay.
You know? Because I was just like, what if, you know, this is too perfect to know the responses and when to play them and which ones to play, you know? And how did you feel about because I think that's when we see like our very first true like violent scene. How do you feel about that?
That was pretty because I think the only one that we see get got is Jennifer Carpenter, right?
In that scene, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like the first like real hard.
I think like her whole head.
Your hand came off, yeah.
Oh,
And the
right.
whole head came off too, yeah.
Yeah.
But how did that shock you at all? Did you expect that?
I wasn't expecting it, so it was a little shocking when I saw it. And then yeah, just because I thought like again, I thought that was her hands. So I thought she was gonna be okay, like they were gonna fix up her hand or whatever, and then she just
Bit the dust.
yeah.
Her mind got blown, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah, but so that shocked you because of just not the violence, really, or is it? You said more of like because of what you interpreted with the characters.
Yeah, with
More
what
than
I
the
interpreted
violence?
with the characters, I was like, okay, her man's is in on this. Obviously, he's like not gonna let anything happen to her, but he did say like, you move or you say a word to
Yeah.
anybody, like. So, yeah, it took me aback just because of the way that I was interpreting the movie up until that point, and then like when it finally happened, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It
Did
just
you
got
have like
real.
shit got real? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how I got too. That's the same feeling I had. Seeing it a second time, how did you feel about the effects? Because they seem to do like a split 1980s thing of her just standing there. Then they instantly like cut to like a reaction of her falling and everything. How did you feel about that?
I think it's a cheaper way to do it. But I don't mind.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have the budget to like, either CG a hand exploding or like, do it with some practical effects, like I don't mind.
Yeah.
We saw enough to know exactly what happened. We're not like, oh, what the hell happened? You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So in that respect, like, I don't need to see everything. And sometimes, depending on how you do it, not seeing is worse.
Yeah.
Because those Foley artists can do some amazing sound effects.
Yeah, that's true.
To the point that, like, if they do the sound effects just right, and you don't see exactly what happens, like, your imagination is left to run, and sometimes that can even be worse than seeing what happens. You know what I mean?
Going to that, this is kind of like a segue to another movie. It's a spoiler for an anime called Akira. For anybody who hasn't seen it, there, I guess because I would like to review it with you too. But there's a scene that a character gets killed, but it gets killed off screen. And knowing what the character that did the killing can do, leaving it to your imagination, I was like, dude, he most likely fucked that dude up.
Damn.
Yeah, to this day, I think about that scene often. And I just think to myself, like, what did he do to that guy? Yeah, so I know what you mean. Like, shit like that could definitely just fuck you up. But I guess I misspoke because I remember one of the henchmen did kill a guy at the gas station earlier in the movie.
Oh, right. Oh, I just meant in the heist.
Oh yeah, no, me. I misspoke because I said
Oh,
I
okay.
thought she was the first one to get got, but I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
But yeah, it also another thing that I missed. I had to read about it too. I guess. Yeah, everybody in that bank. I think most of them died. I think like all of them did die. 'Cause they said that in the radio.
There was one person that was alive because remember she was banging on the door as they passed by. So they left one alive. Everybody else,
Is that person used as hostage, or?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. No, because they had already taken off.
Okay.
And they were chasing them.
Oh yeah.
And so one person was left alive inside the bank. And I thought it was interesting going kind of back to before the bank heist takes place. We kind of see Black Gloves working everything out to like, okay, he knows these fools are gonna be here. This is where I'll get the money.
Yeah.
And then I take this and then I go buy the truck with it.
Yeah.
And so like everything's just kind of set up very like
meticulously. Yeah, that it goes to like how, but that kind of doesn't help the pacing. But it goes to how tight the movie is written and everything. Like everything's set up. But yeah, I guess going back to the bank, the heist. This is kind of like the turning point of the movie because this is when the pace picks up. this is where you kind of see like how violent and how deep this shit's getting,
Yeah.
And you kind of get the sense like, oh, okay, shit could definitely go down now. And for me, that's where I remember watching it for the first time. That's why I remember, like, I was lying down just watching that, and then I sat up because my heart started to like pound, because I've come to like, even though these guys might be racist, but I've come to like them because seeing them kind of talk around. I'm referring to Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn's character. Seeing them kind of fuck around and shit, I've come to like them. And in this universe, it seems like a universe that, shit goes down. So I was hoping for your safety.
Yeah.
And I was also scared for Henry and Muscles. I forgot his actual name, but played by Michael J. White. I was also worried for them because they're in the shits too. And they didn't know shit was about to get this real.
And they are in the shit with some people who do not care if they live or die.
Yeah.
And most likely at the end of this are going to get rid of them. And they realize that as well. And that's why they had guns on them, so I think that was a moment of tension that they built up really well.
Yeah.
Is when they were in the van.
Yeah.
And it was very much, I think, the people in the van, there was definitely some racism going on there too. I'm like, dang, you read all these characters pretty racist.
These are some hardcore racists.
So it's like, good job bringing Mel Gibson on. I guess.
Do you think he was like their acting coach? Like, that's not racist enough. You need to do this. Shouts out to Mel Gibson, though. I still like the guy.
What was I gonna say? Yeah. So like just the tension the whole time in the van of like, we know at any time that those two are dispensable. And then there was also kind of like the tension of like them having to do whiteface for the heist and stuff like that. There was like a lot of like weird stuff that like psychologically had to be kind of like fucking with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and so like that, like they're being fucked with the whole time. They call them Muscles and Slim. Yeah.
Making them do like odd jobs, like and everything.
Yeah.
Which is really gross.
That was pretty gross. But yeah.
You're talking about the tension and
the tension. You just automatically feel that like they don't give a fuck about these two. And that I think that's why they brought them on. They were people that are dispensable, and they think they're gonna get a pay cut out of this, but they're definitely not.
Did you ever play the game Payday, the heist or something like that?
No.
The ending kind of reminds me of that game, because I think that game, the whole gist of it is like, it's a group of people, you could go commit a crime or something like that, but I think people could also betray each other and shit. So I had that feeling of just like how you were saying, just the tension, and anything could happen at that moment. But it's crazy too how that tension.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's fine.
If you're gonna be on the mic, like stay on the mic a little bit.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I'm still learning. This is my training right here. Okay, is it good?
I think it should be good.
Okay. So with the interesting thing about the tension is like, even then there still wasn't much happening, but because after the heist, but it's just so much tension because now you just don't know what's going to happen next. But watching it again, there's still just another like 15-20 minutes, or maybe like 25 minutes of them just driving still.
Yeah. The driving was a lot.
Yeah.
The driving took a lot. The stakeout too.
Stakeouts,
leading up to it was like a lot. And I get that they kind of wanted to build that like that tension up. It was a little like, for me, like, okay, I'm gonna grab myself like a snack real quick or something like that, I wasn't like sitting there waiting for
Oh,
it, you know
really?
what I mean? Like, and I guess that's what they were trying to build up. And so it fell a little short in that regard for me. But I see why they did it.
Yeah.
It didn't hit as hard for me. I guess in today's society, I guess maybe us as viewers, we have a shorter attention span when it comes to things like that. A lot of the older movies, like you said, were kind of paced more like that. So maybe we don't appreciate it as much as
things evolve, you know.
Yeah.
That's why I felt like this was more of a throwback to that type of era. It got me. It definitely got me, like, because I was super into it by that point. But yeah, by the third act, the shit just goes bonkers, you know.
Oh
It
yeah,
kind of turns into a Quentin Tarantino type shit, and
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then the moment that I knew Michael J. White's character was gonna die,
muscles, yeah.
Was when they started talking about like the barbecue or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or no, it was the birthday party.
The birthday, I think.
And he was talking about like, my mom gave you the biggest slice, even though the birthday, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why that kind of
like,
tip off?
Just when someone starts like getting that backstory that like you really get to like remember this like good moment that we had. I'm like, okay, he's about to die.
Yeah.
They're giving us that little last bit of like connecting with the character before they take them away.
Yeah,
so it hits harder, you know what I mean?
That's a common movie trope right there.
Yeah.
You know? Once you, like they say with war movies, once that guy starts writing a letter to his wife, you know he's gone. Because his last words are going to be, "Give this to my wife," or some shit, you know.
It's like in a horror movie when you see,
a black guy.
Dang. Hey, you say that, but Night of the Living Dead, he was the last one.
That's true.
You know what I'm
was
saying?
He also the first one too? In Night of the Living Dead, was he like in a horror movie? He was like the first black guy to actually make it through.
I mean, he died at the end.
Oh yeah, he died at the end
because they shot him at the end. But he made it all the way to the end.
That is true.
He was not the first one.
That is true. That is true.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I was gonna say, like in a horror movie, would you see two characters like getting it on?
Oh yeah.
Like that's an instant, like you're dead.
Like Freaky with Vince Vaughn. Remember? In the beginning.
Oh yeah.
But I know what you mean. Like those common movie tropes. I got the sense that something was going to happen. Then because you kind of see them start nodding a lot at each other. Muscles and Slim, Henry and Michael J. White. I forgot the name of his character. They started nodding and started looking at each other a lot. And I was like, something's about to go down. But looking back, watching the movie, even both times, I was like, you guys' plan was still fucking stupid though. Because like, what was Moses going to do? He's in the car with both of the henchmen at gunpoint. He thought like just fucking shoving the dude and jumping was like he would escape. While they have like machine guns or like automatic weapons.
I think they were at that point, like they had envisioned a scenario that they thought that they were going to be working with people that were a little more amateur.
True.
So that they could take control of the situation if it went south. And I think that they just kind of, in that regard, kind of went in over their heads on that one. Didn't think about how meticulous these people were. And I think that was another point of tension is we see that Henry is a very intelligent individual.
Yeah.
So he's always going to try to find like the next chess move to make sure that he's okay. And in that regard, also make sure that Muscles is okay as well, because that's someone that he cares about. And so he's trying to work it out. And those moments where he's having a tough time work it out kind of add to the tension of the scenes, because you can see him kind of being frustrated that things aren't going the way that he needs them to. And he's trying to figure it out. Like, how are we going to get out of this?
Yeah. But he's more calm than Muscles when it comes to like his processing, though.
Yeah. Yeah. He is. And I think that's kind of what did it for him. He wasn't as, jumpy or
Emotional.
Yeah, exactly. He was able to kind of process it and realize, like, you can't let emotions get in the way. This is like life or death right here. And you made a good choice, because for a large portion of that last act, we kind of don't see him.
Yeah. Because he's also doing his chess move.
Yeah.
Within that too, yeah.
He's like,
Observing.
These two groups are going to go at each other. Let me just come in when everything is said and done.
He's like that guy who camps in Call of Duty,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, I think that was well played as part of a chess move. Did it remove him a little bit from the story, and we don't get to see as much of him? Yes, but at the same time, it's consistent with the character.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, I didn't mind it.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it just fits everything that he would do. And they even mentioned how, I guess by the end, like how, like you said, intelligent he is, but he also lets people think he's dumb.
Exactly.
Also another way of playing the chess move,
Did he say something about, like, sometimes it's a good thing to be underestimated?
Yeah. That's
I think
exactly,
he had a line
he said that.
saying something like that.
Because of the way he speaks, and maybe they didn't touch on this in the movie, but maybe even like his color, his background and stuff like that. People just underestimate him, and he uses that to his strength, I thought that was really cool. The last act, I think, for me, it sounds like I enjoyed it more than you when it comes to the first two acts. But the last act to me makes it even more worth it, because it's just like continuous action. Even though it's still tense because it might still be breaks in the action, but there's still stuff happening, And the violence in that scene is so grounded, that when shit happens, you're like, holy shit.
To the point that they're like pulling stuff out of like Muscle's body.
Yeah,
that part was like, oh man. And I knew he thought he was doing something when he swallowed the key. But I was like, they're gonna get it right out of you, bro. Like these people are ruthless.
Yeah, these people, they don't play any games, man.
And then that's when, like, probably one of the most racist lines came out. He said, like, watch the liver. He's like, because if you nick that, it's gonna smell really bad, especially black guys. I was like, oh my god. Did you really just fucking say that?
Like, why did you have to say that, man?
I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, but the violence in that
like,
scene,
what does that have to do with how bad it smells?
Yeah,
like,
I thought the same thing. It's like, I don't understand that, but hey, man.
I guess just showing how racist they are.
Yeah. I also like the fact that you don't see those guys' faces, you just kind of leave it to your imagination. But yeah, the violence, people getting their hand blown off and everything. I thought it was so cool. Not cool in a way, but cool like it just fits the movie. Yeah, it just fits the whole grittiness and everything. And it wasn't even like over the top shootouts in a way compared to like other movies. You can still see, because of how the movie is set up, kind of like a chessboard. You can still see this even like a chess game.
Yeah.
Even the shooting, because of the way like Tony, Vince Vaughn's character, even angles himself with so much confidence, and he could tell like, okay, from this angle he's not going to get shot. And Mel Gibson's character giving percentage and stuff like that. I thought that was like such a cool, like tight written scene and action, and to me it made the whole thing just kind of worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, to your point, yeah. And then that Henry's actions in the last act kind of like you said, it kind of all comes together. Some like elements from from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
It all kind of ties together in the way that he kind of acts at that last thing. But yeah, like you said, really big. And that's the way I was thinking about it too. When I was like, after I had watched it, I was like, okay, that whole last part was like a big chessboard.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you've got this armored van. We cannot penetrate.
Yeah.
What is the move?
Yeah.
Because like at that point, even though they've Mel Gibson's like kind of shown his colors as like, his character is definitely like a little on the racist side, even if he doesn't realize it. Vince Vaughn's not so much. And I think that's a part of it, is that his character doesn't realize.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
that he is as racist as he is.
Yeah.
And regardless of that, like, we want them to do well.
Yeah.
We've seen enough of them, and we know their struggle enough to want to see them make it out. And so like, it's, for me, it was kind of like, okay, how do we get in there?
Yeah. Oh,
like
okay,
like
that's
I'm
cool.
I'm part of the gang.
Yeah.
Like how do we get in there?
Yeah.
Let me in. Let me in.
Yeah, and then I was so like, yeah, I kind of got that feel. So obviously the pros or what have you have the upper hand because they've got the armored van and stuff like that. But once that all goes, we kind of see them lose it because I think the tipping point was them shooting Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, using a hostage.
Yeah, using the hostage
as a pawn. Yeah. Oh, that's another chess move.
Yeah.
Using a hostage as a pawn. Yeah.
So yeah, it just kind of all, like I said, big chessboard, and they had to shoot her.
Yeah.
Because that was fucked up. Like, you think you're saving someone. I felt like that might happen though.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because right when he says, he's like, yeah, I've got family, like I've got people who will make sure that like your family suffer if you don't do exactly what I say. I felt like that's exactly where it was going, and it did. And I don't know, I was still like, God damn it, they took him out, because like he was probably, other than the hostage, probably the most innocent one in that whole scenario.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that is true.
Because obviously Henry's our protagonist, but Henry put himself in that position, becoming part of the heist, and Tony was the most reluctant to get in, and in that situation, like, not towards the beginning of everyone getting taken out. And so that was just like, God damn it.
Yeah. Like the most pure out of this, besides the hostage, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been talking a lot though.
Oh, no, it's all good.
So I think the turning point for all of that was when
Tony goes, right?
Yeah, Tony goes, because then Mel Gibson just hops in the car.
That shit was so intense.
Yeah.
I love that shit. Sorry, keep going.
No, yeah. But I was gonna say, so like, how did you feel?
Oh yeah, that shit got me amped.
Let's get this mother crunk!
Going back to Tony, his demise was so sad. Like how you were saying, he was like the most, I guess, out of all of them, besides the hostage, the most pure. But it's also because of the call he was expecting from his girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
And his demise was so sad because he finally calls him because he was kind of, ask her to marry him. And right before he goes, and I also like the movie does this. He just says, it wasn't the answer I wanted to hear, because she calls him and leaves like a voicemail. But you can interpret that as maybe she told him yes, but it's at the wrong time because he's about to die. Or it's no, and it's also bad news, but you never get that confirmation, which I really like.
Yeah. It leaves it open to interpretation, but like I interpreted it as like he got a no.
Oh, okay.
And then it's just like, God damn, I got a no and I'm about to die.
Yeah, I'm about to go too. Yeah. That's just a bad way to go out. But,
Emotional damage.
yeah, once he goes and Mel Gibson turns up the intensity, that shit got me so hyped because I wanted him to kill those assholes so bad at that point, that when he just goes like full commando, you see like how good he is. Like you see, like, maybe he was taking it easy prior, you know?
Yeah.
Because he just says, fuck the bullshit, man. And yeah, he goes all the way in.
Oh, yeah.
And seeing them get killed was so satisfying, you know?
And then we get a little bit of interaction with Henry, too.
Yeah, with Henry,
he's like,
yeah.
you need to come help me.
Yeah.
He's like, nah, you got it.
Yeah. Yeah, Henry being sly, you know? Kind of letting him just kind of handle the heavy duty and everything. But yeah, the execution was so well because you could see without them, you could see how experienced Mel Gibson character was just with the way he systematically took them down. You could see like, yeah, he talks about percentage, but you could also kind of see like how that just works in action. How he just thinks about things and he goes to the whole chess thing. And it was really dope to see, man. It's like watching somebody play Call of Duty and just hit flow states and they just end up with like a 20 kill streak.
Yeah.
You know, like he could have gotten a Harrier strike at that point, man.
Friendly Harriers inbound.
But yeah, then going back to Henry, you kind of see how they clash too. And I like how they clash. To me, I knew I really liked this movie because there's a scene that, you know, Henry shoots Mel Gibson's character. And he says like, oh, I'm going to use the straps from my bulletproof vest to like, you know, close up the wound and stop the bleeding. Then he uses it as a way to distract Henry. You remember he tossed it at him and they start fighting, and he kind of like disarms him. I was thinking that's dope as fuck, you know. But yeah, that was I guess if I could talk to somebody about this movie, it kind of goes into my rating. I won't give it yet, but like if I feel like somebody's not going to like the first two acts, I'll just recommend the last act and they could watch it on YouTube. You know, because I do think that's a really cool like scene.
It did play out really well, and it is the most interesting act of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Because like we said, it is slow to start, and it's slow to get really into it. It's for a reason.
Yeah,
it introduces you to the characters and to the situations that they find themselves in and their motivations for what they're doing. It just takes a while to get to like the
meat of it. You know?
It doesn't go 0 to 100 real quick.
No.
It's sitting
You see
there
the
like
whole
in the
board
school
line.
zone
Yeah.
for a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like,
It's like when you're downloading a video, it just gets, you know, you see each one, each fucking percentage. Yeah, that's how it goes. But yeah, the last act too, it goes to how you're saying like how everything is set up, and how we were saying before, how everything is set up that even, you know, I mean, we're already giving spoilers. Like even the demise of Mel Gibson's character, you could see is because one, he also underestimates Henry, and he also maybe the racism that he didn't even realize. He also looks down on Henry, and because of his whole percentage mindset, that he was thinking about it logically and stuff like that with percentage. But you know, some people you just can't really predict what they're going to do.
exactly.
You know,
and I think that was like you were saying, that's part of his demise, is that because Henry reveals like, I was going to let you live. I gave you my word, and I was going to stick to it. And so really Mel Gibson brought on his own demise by underestimating you know, Henry's ability to keep his word. And just kind of seeing him as like, oh, I think the mindset was like, you're black, you're a criminal. You know?
And you also have like, you know, tape on me, because that's his biggest thing. He also has
that
the
was
tape.
true.
Because he already got
That's what
suspended.
he said. I think it was more of the
You think
first
so?
thing I said, you know what I'm saying?
I can see that too, because I didn't think about how you said like he may be racist, but he himself doesn't even realize.
He doesn't realize.
Yeah.
And so he gives the non-racist explanation. He's like, you had the tape. I can't let you go with that tape.
I do think the tape is more of the reason. For me, my interpretation, I do think the tape is more of the reason. But I do see how like maybe the race and everything is why he also underestimated him and didn't take him for his word. And from the beginning, you get the fact that Mel Gibson's character, it's gonna bother me that I don't know his name, that you see he likes to be the person to take charge or being in control. That's why he always has those percentage all the time, you know?
Right.
And yeah, it just kind of goes to, it's something like even though Quentin Tarantino would do, you know, it just kind of shows that you just can't predict some shit. Shit happens, you know? And the execution of all that was just, to me, it was just beautiful to watch. And it was really like seamless with how it's written, you know? And even by the ending that after, is there anything you want to touch on the last act actually?
Before we get to the ending?
Yeah, like right before the ending.
No, I thought it was played out very beautifully. Like they have that moment like where Mel Gibson's dying. And he like, you know, if he lived, they were gonna do the 60-40.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and so he's like, we still good for the 60-40?
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, we ain't doing 60-40. He's like, but I'll make sure your family's all right.
Yeah. Henry's very honorable too, man, you know?
Yeah. I mean, because, like, really, he could have left that family destitute.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we see that, you know, he sends that logically, with how meticulous the rest of the movie was, the very last part kind of,
it's kind of cartoony to you.
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, for financial reasons.
Okay.
And how real world money works.
Okay. You can.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, because the whole thing is over the I want to say bullions, but it's,
Yeah, they keep saying bullions. But I think about those cubes. People used to cook.
Because like when I think of like, you know, gold in like, you know, small things, I think of like doubloons or something.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean? And then bullions just makes me think of like coding.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, true false.
Yeah.
Killing each other over true falses.
Yeah, but so the whole thing was over all of that gold. And it's like, okay, you've got all of this gold. One, you've got to find someone who's going to want to buy gold that possibly can be tracked back to the bank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think the time frame that they give it is like 3 weeks, or
Was
no,
it weeks or years? Maybe it was weeks. I can't think now. We could,
or maybe
we could put like a, you know, one of your Mofos feed footage.
yeah.
here.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Anyways, I remember it being, I was like, okay, in that time frame, you're not going to be able to set up a front that's going to give you enough of a reason to have as much of that money. The IRS is going to be all over your ass.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially Henry.
yeah. And I was like, there's no way. Like, logically speaking, from a financial standpoint, there's no way without the IRS being like, okay, you got that. It's some crazy ass way.
I didn't even think about that until you mentioned it now. Because that definitely doesn't fit in there. Like how you said, meticulous and real world this movie has been. Yeah,
that was kind of like I was like, okay, so we just choose like the last 10 minutes of the movie to throw logic out the window.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean now.
And then even to that point, like even if we're supposed to believe that, you know, Henry's smart enough to like figure out how to work all that financial stuff, because like there's no way. There's no way.
Yeah,
There's no way. You get flagged immediately. They're gonna look into you, and then like something's gonna come up.
So you think that might still go away if, I guess, once you find out the timestamp or how the time jump that they did, you think if it was like maybe in years, it would be more believable for you? Like maybe if they said like 3 years or 4 years later?
I think if they said like 10 years.
Yo, you think so? 10 years?
I think if they said 10 years, for the amount of wealth that they show him having at the end, I would, anywhere from like 5 to 10 years, I'd be like, okay, I can see it.
See. Okay.
But he's also got a little brother. His brother is still young at the end.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it wasn't that big of a time jump.
Yeah.
And then also, like, he sends the family the gold, assuming that they'll have a way to turn that into money and wash the money and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, are you really helping them out? You know?
Yeah. And even he sent it as Frank. I mean, is Frank his name? I keep wanting to say Frank. but that just sounds like a gritty ass, salty ass type of name. That's why I keep maybe thinking Frank.
Yeah.
But he sends it to Mel Gibson's family as like he was Mel Gibson, you know. So they still don't really know that he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, which kind of sucks too.
Which I think they would.
Yeah. I think the mom for sure will figure it out.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, with the situation that they were in, he's not the type of person to leave them in that situation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So go on. No, go on. I just realized something. Kind of going to what you were saying.
No, you're good.
You're definitely right about them being flagged because there was a big robbery that damn near everybody got killed to get that gold. So yeah, so there will be heat on that shit for sure. Yeah, that's true.
So to be able to turn that into like visible wealth, because when we see that last portion of the movie, he's in a mansion and his mom's got her own personal masseuse. Like, obviously, like, this man has, you know, taken his earnings from the job and like just he came up. He came up in a way that's very visible, and for him to do all of that and not get flagged, like, would take a lot of time.
Yeah, I see. Man, that actually kind of changes my perspective on the ending now. I'm glad you brought that up. And this is why I like doing this reviews, you know, to bring different perspective. But because I was thinking, like, I really liked the ending at first. But you saying that kind of like, oh, damn, I guess it is really cartoony. Because the thing I did originally like at the ending was my own interpretation. Remember he was playing the game with his brother?
Lion Safari?
Or
Shotgun Safari?
He was in the beginning, but in the ending they were playing like a new game. But Henry wants to play the Lion Safari game. So I almost took it as, is that his way of getting back into that mindset of about to go do some other shit? You know, because that was the game they were playing before the whole shit started. Or is that like him trying to just come back and complete the mission, you know?
I think it was I don't know exactly what they were getting at the end, but the name of the game that he says at the end is the name of the track that starts and ends the movie.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Oh,
yeah.
that's actually kind of cool.
I can't remember. I think it's called like Shotgun Safari. Like Beeline. What is he?
I forgot.
I forget how it goes. But you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so that coupled with like the whole lion imagery of both of the families, paired with the fact that Henry kind of waits off in the sidelines like a lion waiting in the tall grass for like the big thing, and then it all comes back to the game at the end, ends with that song. I thought all of that was really clever. Yeah, they just kind of lost me in the middle of all of that. With like, you know, like I said, that kind of cartoony take on what happens with the money. But
because that's just like how you're saying, just how the movie has established itself. You know, it's kind of like seeing a movie that, like you said, maybe grounded, but by the ending they start doing like some Matrix shit. You know, so I see what you mean. But yeah, I still like you even talking about the whole Shotgun Safari thing with the song. I still like that. I still think it fits well, but you also do really bring up a good point about the money aspect too. But yeah, all in all, I guess we can kind of give our ratings now, since you kind of went over it. Oh, unless there's other things you want to talk about the movie.
No, I think I touched on everything I wanted to.
What would I say? What would I give this movie? So this movie, I guess I'll give it like 8 exploding heads out of 10. You know, and at first I was at 9, but this review and my second viewing brought it down to an 8. And the positives, I really like how tightly written. I mean, how tight it was written. I like the grounded violence because it just added weight to every single thing that happened. You know. A lot of the it's not a fun movie at all, you know, but a lot of like the dark humor jokes hit for some reason. Especially with Mel Gibson's dry delivery, a lot of these things that he says were fucking like laugh out loud funny to me. Like, for example, there was a scene he goes to the mall and he asked how much a suit cost, and they said some crazy amount like 5,000 or some crazy amount, and there's a pause and it's like, is it bulletproof? You know, yeah. He had a lot of those type of lines. Him and Vince Vaughn had a lot of those type of lines throughout the whole movie. Even Henry also is very clever and very witty. So a lot of the dark humor stuff works. Trying to think of anything else. The acting was good. I think the acting was good for everybody. No dumbass like exposition, like you were saying. It's all like contained in the movie. But yeah, the negatives for me is the pacing for sure. The pacing is, as much as I really like this movie, and I really like it, but it's not something I'm going to go back and watch often. I'm just most likely just going to go back and watch specific scenes that I like on YouTube. And I cannot recommend this movie to people unless I know for a fact they like these type of movies. You know? The most I could just say is like, oh, I saw, Dragged Across Concrete. I thought it was good. That's the only thing I could say. I can't go say like, you should watch it too, because I do think people will check the fuck out within the first like act and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. Like the ending does kind of get cartoony for what they have established in the movie. But it's not enough to break the movie for me, but I do see your point now with that. So yeah, those would be my negatives, just the pacing and I guess kind of like the ending is kind of, it just breaks the establishment made beforehand.
Okay. I got you. My turn?
Yeah.
Okay. So taking into account everything, kind of what it didn't turn me off. We got to review the movie. I got to see it all the way through.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more of a chore to finish than I would have liked.
Did you give your number? Oh, you kind of leading up.
I'm gonna do it at the end.
Oh, okay.
So it was a little bit more of a chore to finish. Sorry, to get started.
Yeah.
The finish was strong. Like that last act is really, really strong. But kind of building up to it, like I said, just kind of they dragged this film across concrete.
Yeah.
But I do like a lot of that big tie into like kind of like that animal, that kind of like jungle safari type of vibe that they kind of like wrapped up really nice. I did like the whole kind of chessboard setup of that final scene. I did like that for the most part these characters felt like real people. Now I've never met a professional like robber assassin, but that's who I envisioned they would be. You know what I'm saying? These seem like real people in real situations trying to make some stuff happen. I like that they get you to care about the characters that they want you to care about. Maybe not so much muscles, kind of like I said, like they kind of threw that in right before they take them away from you. So I was like, okay, yeah, you're trying to give us something at the last minute. Yeah. And I'm just like, I know I'm supposed to care. And I did end up caring just for how, one, the fucked up things they said about him, and then like how fucked up they were with handling his body. But yeah, other than that, like I cared about the characters that they wanted you to care about, so they did a good job with that. I was rooting against the characters that they kind of set you up to root against, and I was like, okay. And like I said, it was even to the point that I was like, felt like I was on the team. Like, how do we get in there? Yeah, So I think they did all of that really well. What really, took me out of it and made me kind of not believe the world was that last little bit. And for that to be the only thing, I'm like, okay, you did a pretty good job. You kind of, it's inconsistent right here at this final part that you would kind of flub the the financial, like what they do once they get the money. They could have consulted somebody, I feel like, and you know, what would be a proper time jump, you know, or like maybe if he was just living like in an okay apartment or something, you know, something like that. They could have done it a little better. But yeah, so there was a lot to like about the movie. But yeah, those two main things, the pacing and then that little inconsistency at the end, were a little bit of a turnoff. So I'm gonna give this one 7.5 T-Rex cakes.
T-Rex. Oh my god. Is that the one Muscles was talking about?
Yeah.
Before he goes? Yeah. Shouts out to Muscles, man.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah. Overall, I definitely got the vibe as we were reviewing that I was more positive about the movie. But you weren't too far off. And we both kind of have the same issues with it. Yeah. I guess maybe the issue with the pacing didn't bother me as much as it did for you. But yeah, overall, I thought this was a good movie. And I definitely can't see movies like this making it big time in the theaters, man. I don't think people got patience for this shit, like you were saying. And
kind of like to what you were saying, it's like, who would you recommend it to?
Yeah.
That becomes a touchy subject as well, because whoever you are recommending this movie to, you're going to be exposing them to like blatant racism.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And even if it's fictional, even if it's characters, you got to think like, you know, who's gonna be okay with being exposed to this fictional racism. I made that mistake. I had a friend and I was like, have you ever seen The Departed? He's like, no. And I was like, you got to see it, bro. Like it's a really good movie, other than the fact that like I don't know why they don't look like too much like each other when they're, you know, but I get them confused all the time. Mark Wahlberg and Matt Damon.
Oh, for real?
I don't know why, but I get them confused. So in that movie, I was like, who just died?
Yeah,
I was like, which one of them? I do really like that movie, and so I was like, yeah, I'll show my friend this, not thinking like my friend is black.
Yeah,
he might take some issue with some of the things that are said in the movie, and we were in the middle of Jack Nicholson's monologue at the beginning, and right at the end of that monologue he drops the N-bomb, and I kind of forgot about it because of like everything that takes place the rest of the movie. He did not want to keep going after that, and I was like, okay, so now when I think about like who I can recommend movies to, it's like, okay, you know, because like when they were talking about like, you know, the Mexican stuff in the beginning, doesn't bother me. Like I said, it just goes to build the characters, but not everybody feels that way.
Yeah, that's true. I think just saying that Mel Gibson is the movie, people are like, you know what? Nah. You know? So I definitely see what you mean with the whole real world aspect of the whole race, especially in this climate too. You know?
Yeah, today's climate.
Yeah, today's climate. It's
very dicey. Might get canceled for recommending this movie to somebody.
Yeah, I know. Might even get canceled for actually say it's good now.
No.
Oh, you're a racist for liking that movie, you know? But yeah, all in all, I think it's a good movie. It kind of goes into like, I guess, our podcast and stuff. These are type of movies I want to see and review more like in the middle. You don't, you know, because with the bigger movies, everybody and their mom, they're going to review it and talk about it, you know.
Yeah.
But with these are the ones that kind of go through the, you know, the grid that some people might hear about it, like actual movie fans, but others might not even know about it. You know,
right? Yeah, I did not know about this one at all.
Yeah. So. You know, I like seeing stuff like this because I also hope, like how we talk about directors, I also hope, you know, maybe not with this topic or this, you know, it doesn't have to be this harsh, but I also hope more directors like this are more open to like kind of do their own art. You know, it might not always hit 100% of the time, but like it's still cool seeing that other directors are still maybe doing throwback stuff or trying different shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially in this climate.
So that we're not seeing the same like formulaic regurgitated shit all the time.
Yeah,
that gets so old.
Yeah, that shit. That's just as boring as the pacing in this movie. You know, kind of. So like, even though the pacing wasn't the best, And yeah, every director might not hit the mark, like I said before, when it comes to their own like vision and stuff. But still, please always keep trying to do different stuff. Keep trying to bring your art more. You know, like keep trying shit. And people like us, Armando and I, mofos like us, we appreciate this. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But any last things to add before we go, or?
Only what we've been saying. Make sure to like and subscribe,
Yeah.
and leave comments. You know, if you have some constructive criticism, or like even if you took issue with what we said, or you think this movie sucks, let us know.
Definitely let us know what you think about the movie. I guess about Mel Gibson, that tape that he had from back in the day. Yeah, whether you're open to seeing Mel Gibson maybe try to come back to Hollywood, that is something I'm interested in. Like, would people accept this guy if he tries to come back? Who knows? And we're coming back with a vengeance this year. We're going to be dragging you guys across the concrete. So yeah, like Armando said, please like and subscribe, and we'll be see you next time.
Yep, see you.